on the show say, I don't know if it's even you're on this show, but I have heard people say, well, I don't believe in God because he chose to flood people. Why didn't he just zap them out? And things
Oh
like
yeah,
that. Well, number
I
one,
mean, this is a question, right? Like this would be like kind of like an issue that could relate to like, okay, well, the morality of God is going to be kind of like separate from like what we would see as really basic morality, right? Like
mhm,
it's better to poof someone out of existence than for them to be drowned, right? If we're talking about a baby has to like be sent out of existence. They have to not exist
okay,
anymore, right?
all
Would it be
right,
better
I
for
did
them
hear
to
you.
drown or would it be better for them to poof? Clearly speaking, I think that we would say, right, it's going to be better for that baby to be poofed, right? But I
Well, here's
mean,
the
the
thing.
flood
There,
indicates that it would be the flood under the your view then.
but in nature, but naturally speaking, that when it says that the earth was watered, everything was watered from water that would come up and not rain. It didn't rain in those days, and it was water came up and from the depths of the earth. In other words, instead of coming from the sky. And the thing is, the Lord wasn't out to harm humans. What had to go through the flood was was almost everyone. Well, it was almost all Noah and his family of eight who built the ark, which they have found on top of Mount Moriah, or I can't remember the name. It's in Turkey, but anyway, um, what had happened was that the fallen angels that they were watchers, but they turned evil. But they had sex with the daughters of men, and then the daughters of men produced what's called Nephilim. And there's several. But anyway, again, I know you're probably familiar with that, right? Where
Hmm.
they're
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I'm
Um,
familiar with these. What is the point that you're driving from this?
well, you said that a little baby. Well, these weren't even human beings. That's how corrupt it had gotten. There was no
You're
other
just talking
pure
about like
bloodline.
it got really bad or something like that. Sure, right? But the idea is that innocent babies, right, haven't reached the age of accountability, right? They haven't had like a true sense of necessarily doing anything wrong, right? So they
Right.
don't necessarily deserve death yet or sin unless you say that there is no age of accountability. They
No,
are
there is an age
accountable.
of accountability. I
Yeah,
believe that. Although there
so
has been
then
questions. I have questioned it before because of the scripture in Corinthians where it says that. Well, I'm not even going to go there because that would really turn you. Anyway, yeah, they're not. The age of accountability isn't. I get what you're saying, but if you're in the environment that they were in, and it fell apart, I mean, the end result would be a flood because of the outer crest of water that had covered the earth to give it the protection it needed. Back then, humans lived like until they were like 800 and 900 years because they weren't affected by the sun rays or. I mean, their bodies literally lasted to 800 or 900 years, but then as it went on, of course, our bodies didn't last that long because our perfect environment was
well, I don't think we
gone.
have evidence to indicate that they like lived that long. These are just like claims from the Bible, right? These are the same as claims
Well,
from any other type of religion.
right, yeah, yeah, yeah. That is true, but I mean, what would be the point? Why would they say that? This is not only claims; it's their genealogy, and I mean, most people take that pretty serious, and it gradually went shorter and shorter. But you're right. I mean, to be perfectly fair, there's no actual claims. I don't think there may be archaeological finds because they pulled up so many archaeological finds on giants, on dinosaurs. You can't deny dinosaurs. You
Oh,
can't deny cavemen. None of that.
we can do dinosaurs though. I mean, not dinosaurs. We can deny dinosaurs are actually in support of our theories, not yours. But in terms of young Earth creationism and stuff like that,
No,
But
I
like
don't
when it,
believe in the younger. I'm not a young
oh,
Earth
you're not
believer.
young
I'm a,
Earth creationist.
no,
Okay,
I'm older
okay, okay, for sure.
because I understand that there was
Well,
two
then the
Earths.
scientific findings aren't going to be different with us then.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I absolutely believe in every finding that they've had in all the archaeological finds, and I don't believe that there is anything other than the evidence of the two floods. And all I need really for evidence is scripture. And
There's not evidence
but
for a global flood, by the way, but there's actually geological evidence like against that particular dating mechanism.
yeah,
So
well, just the fact that there were two that God created twice. Like we don't know how many millions of years that Satan, his one third that followed him, whatever else was on the earth. We don't know how long that was into being and before. And to me, just think about it. Say you got 2/3 left of your creation that has seen what's happened. I mean, it was a coup d'état for that many to be involved. It was a complete takeover. And it's like if I was God, I would want to prove myself, and there would be everybody. I mean, the minute he put of the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil in the center of the Garden of Eden, which, by the way, he, which the second Adam and Eve, or the second man and woman, he put in the Garden of Eden. The first, he didn't give any kind of limits or boundaries to.
yeah, so
But,
again,
but
I understand like the stories of like these different types of beliefs. I trust me, I understand them. My point is with like the coherency of these different types of stories, right? Like when it
yeah,
relates to the idea that we are flawed, right, because we have sin and stuff like that, right? And
yeah,
then also the idea that God is a perfect creator, right? These things seem to go in contradiction to each other, right?
I can see where
As
you would say that, where you could see that as a contradiction. However, we were made perfect. We were made to be and have everything under our feet, to be an authority over everything. It was our domain. We ran the show. That's the way human beings in a perfect world. That's what God created. That's what His heart wanted for us. But He gave us choices. And when you give someone a choice, you kind of
wait,
have to
wait,
pull
wait.
back
You can have
and
choice. You
deal with
can
the
have
result.
choice. You can have choice and perfection, right? As God has choice, right? God has choices,
Yes,
and
yes.
God is
That's
perfect.
what I meant by perfectly imperfect perfection.
Wait, no, no,
That
no.
was the only way I could
Well, that
describe
doesn't
that.
make any sense. So like,
Well,
but like the
because when you
idea is
give someone,
that no, the idea is that God is perfect. God is always going to do the right thing and is never going to deviate from that perfection, right? And
yes,
God
but
still has free will. So the idea is that you can
that's
have
right.
free will and those characteristics can be true. So this idea that like, oh, it would be taking away free will for them to be perfect. Well, I'm not really convinced of that under your worldview.
Well, now wait a minute. Number one. I'm I'm older. I know I'm a senior citizen, but my worldview is kind of as I mean, you keep saying my worldview as though you know what I think. I'm pretty. Um,
I meant like the
I'm not.
Christian worldview.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but I don't agree with a lot of what the Christian's worldview is. I don't believe with a lot of it. I believe scripture and only scripture. You get involved in religion, and I mean it could literally put a ring in your nose and lead you anywhere they want to go. So it's just it's bondage, and I don't do religion. So you might find out that I have different views than a lot of people. And the deal is, God is perfect, and but when you give someone choices, you can't give something away and take it back. I mean, you just can't. You have to be big. You have to be willing to deal with the consequences, and you better have a game plan because you know pretty well they're going to mess up. But you almost have to be willing. It's just like with teenagers, just like with kids. I mean, if I could, if my daughter has told me, mother, if I could go back and would have listened, boy, my life would have been different. About different things. And it's just that to me that would have been a harder call to um, not allow her to live and make her mistakes, and it would not have benefited her more either. So you just kind of, to me, the minute Adam and Eve messed up, the minute that happened, then triune, the Trinity, I mean, God in three persons, um, made a plan. He let us make man in our image, and the plan, I believe, with everything in me, was, whenever Adam and Eve sinned and they were found naked and they were embarrassed because they were naked, he had to go and kill one of his creatures. He literally had to go and take the skin off of one of his animals and make them some clothes. So there was innocent blood that was shed over their inability to say no, and uh, to,
God
people.
didn't have to do that. God literally did
I
not have
know,
to shed their innocent blood. God could have just like spawned in, spoke it into existence. Some clothes.
that, but why would he have done that? Because what she did was so wrong. I mean,
So
Lucifer came to her.
just because she did something wrong doesn't mean he should do something wrong.
No, no, no. That's it's just like you have to think of it almost like a parent. I mean, I think of like how many times I messed up and my little daddy. I hadn't seen him in over 20 years because he's been with the Lord. But how many times did I mess up? And I mean, I messed up in big ways when I was young. And I always knew Daddy loved me. He was there for me. And some of the things I had to do weren't pleasant, but same thing. It's like the Lord. We've had to go through some hard times just as a. Well, I guess I'm saying it wrong. You're born into sin because the perfection ended like the earth. That Noah's flood, tilted the earth on its axis. They all the Nephilim and all that were cleaned out off the earth, and then they, be multiply, whatever, be fruitful and multiply. And here we are now with the whole plan in action. And I'm sure when Jesus hung on the cross, I'm sure that every being in hell and above were celebrating, thinking that it was over. They had won the war because it was probably like a chess game between the two. You know what I mean? God had something to prove. So did Satan. Satan wants his office, and God had something to prove. I mean, he had to. He was challenged. Think about it. You've got all, and so Adam and Eve messed up, and we are all born into sin. And until Jesus hung on the cross and shed his blood, he Satan never realized that that was the biggest mistake he could make, because in doing that, he was the first person that overcame death. And as a matter of fact, it gets into detail. It says he pretty much kicked the door down of hell, death, and the grave, and it ripped the keys of death, hell, and the grave from the enemy, and gave us authority. Now we have the authority to tread on serpents, to make demons obey, and things like that. But Christians are in so in I don't know what. I don't know if it's a non-belief. It's not that it's non-belief. I can only speak for myself. Like my brother-in-law right now is passing from cancer, and I know the word says that I should be able to go over there, lay hands on him, and the sick have to recover. But it's is it my lack of faith? I mean, there's a lot of things that I wish I didn't do, or just the opposite. So your imperfection question, I think, has more on our reaction. Like, I know what you're saying about the innocent babies dying, but at that time there were no innocents. Everything had been hybrid. There was, and people say, "Well, Noah was
That's
good.
actually
That's
not
why he
true
was."
under your view. There were innocents because there were it was an age of
They
accountability.
weren't human. We're human
Okay.
hybrids.
No, all babies on the planet weren't that way.
Everything, everything that was alive. And God, if people say, well, Noah was good. Noah wasn't good. He was a drunk. It wasn't that he was good. It was that his bloodline was pure. He hadn't. There was at least only 8 people that made it to be saved from the flood, and everything else. So generation and generation had to pass. I mean, for it to get that bad, but it had definitely, like there was like the Amalekites, the Assyrians, the Canaanites, even. They were all giants, and so it was there in a big way. And
Yeah. So
it even started again after the flood.
thank you. Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah. I appreciate the subscribe or the hot mustache. Thank you so much. Yeah. So is there anything specifically you'd like to talk about or add else?
no, no, I'm
Well,
good.
appreciate you coming on, Ron. It was great talking to you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you for that mustache. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. We're going to go on to the next person. Again, if you like the content, make sure to follow me. If you haven't already, tap that screen. Let's try to get to 500,000 likes. If you want to help get it out to more people, everyone, share the live. Let's try to get to 500 shares, everyone. It will help get it out to more people. I appreciate everyone doing so. Sally, thank you for the confetti. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. By the way, everyone, we've been on for about 3 hours or so. We're going to be on maybe for like another 2 or 3 hours or so. So again, if you like the content, follow me if you haven't already. Everyone, again, we go live every single day. We've been suspended on my main account. We're going to be back there on the 22nd, everyone. But until then, we're going to be on this account. So follow me here if you have not already. This is where I go whenever I do get banana chat. So this is where I go. But let me go to the next person. Again, only send a guest request if you disagree, y'all. Yo, Mama Jean, thank you so much for the garland. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I appreciate all the gifts, everyone. Thank y'all so much. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
I'm 19.
For sure. Do you think that being gay is wrong or immoral?
I do think it's wrong.
Why so?
Because for there to be reproduction in this world, you need a man
what's
and
your
a
birth
woman.
year?
My birth year?
Yeah.
It's about 2000. I'm actually 23. Just didn't want to seem
God,
old.
bro. I fucking knew it, chat. I knew it. It's actually unbelievable, chat. Actually unbelievable. Okay, it's not going to accept this person. Again, only send a guest request if you disagree. Again, just looking for some debates, everyone. Again, only send a guest request if you disagree, y'all. Okay, for some reason, it's not accepting them. All right, we'll try the next.
Hello?
Right. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
I'm 26, bro.
What's your birth year?
97.
For sure. Do you think that being gay is wrong or immoral?
Nah, I actually forgot I requested you, but nah, I don't think it's wrong. I'm trans myself, but I did want to like ask everybody a question, like, what if the whole world was reversed, like everybody was gay and then, you born liking somebody else that's not what it's supposed to quote unquote be like. That's what I don't understand why people just can't mind their business or just, if you got nothing nice to say to somebody, just keep your opinion to yourself. Like, people want to be so, like, not respectful. And I feel like, in my opinion, that's all I ask for personally. Just respect. And that's it.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, everyone. Let's go on to the next person. Only send a guest request if you disagree, everyone. Again, just looking for some debates, y'all. Let's go on to the next person, though. You already know the deal. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Hey, how are you?
How old are you?
53.
For sure. Do you think that being gay is wrong or immoral?
No.
All right, well, I am just looking for people who disagree, but I appreciate you coming on. All right. Let's go to the next person, everyone. Again, only send a guest request if you disagree, all. Just looking for some debates. Tap that screen, everyone. Okay, is it not going to accept this person? I disagree in a different way. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Yo, what's up? How old are
Oh,
you?
my bad. I didn't
Oh,
mean
you
to.
didn't mean to? Okay,
I
you're
didn't
good.
mean.
Don't worry. You're good. Don't worry, bruv. May I join my brother? No religion included. I'm 18. No, you're not. I literally had you on earlier and you weren't 18, so. Literally weren't 18 earlier. I remember. My memory isn't that bad, bruv. My memory isn't that bad. Come on. Yes, I do say bruv. I do. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Hey Parker, I'm 19.
For sure. Do you think that being gay is wrong or immoral?
Yes,
Why
I
so?
think the intercourse is immoral. Just being gay is not immoral, but the sexual intercourse, 100%.
Yeah, so why?
And because based on my morality that I live, and I
Yeah.
want to clarify some things you said before that were wrong, like false information. Can I clarify that to enlighten everybody in here?
Sure.
Okay. So you said basically that the sperm is described in the Quran that the sperm comes from the area of the spine and ribs.
Yeah, so the
But
spurting fluid that produces life comes from between the backbone and the rib.
yes, true. But the passage in the Quran is often interpreted metaphorically and symbolically, and it's not literally. So the description serves to emphasize the creation and origin of the human being rather than like being a scientific explanation, just to clarify that. And Muslims don't believe that Jesus died on the cross, just so you know.
Oh yeah, no, I
They,
already I do agree with that. They don't
no,
believe
no.
that he died on
Oh,
the cross, right? They
oh,
believe
okay,
that
that's
it
good.
was made to appear that he died on the cross, right? But you should also tell that to apologists who are constantly claiming that the Quran is a book of science, right?
It
Claiming
is the
that
book
it's in
of science,
accordance with
actually.
scientific fact.
It
Well,
is.
not in
It
that
is.
sense.
I can prove it. I can
You
prove
can
it.
you can
What
you
if I
can
prove it
show
right
me
now?
that. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, good. So there are many scientific, like evidence for the truth of Islam and the science miracles in the Holy Quran, and actually scientifics prove that these like statements that were made in the Quran are that they're not from a human, so they have like may be like from God. You know what I'm saying? And I could prove it to you. Um, I could.
Wait,
Can I
so I
put
have a
on my
question,
camera?
right? If it's
It's
if
the
it's a book of
professor.
science, right?
I prove it to you.
No, hold up. Let
I
me
prove
ask
it.
my question.
The state. Okay.
If the Quran is a book of science, then
Yeah.
how can you say that the claim about where sperm comes from is not a literal notion in terms of science? Like what gives aid to that interpretation?
In that particular surah, has some scientific evidence, like truth of Islam, and I'm going to prove it to you right now. How
Sorry,
do I
cut
put it
out a
on my
little
camera?
bit. Can you restate what you
Oh,
just said?
it's just that verse, just that like surah. There are scientific statements in the Quran that have been proven from professor and scientists, and I can prove it to you right now. For example,
How
the
do you know that that
professor,
surah is not literal? That's what I was asking you.
because scientists they they studied that statements, like the scientific statements, and I can prove it to you right now. So the professor, how do I put on my camera so you can
I'm
see it
asking you
as
about the
well?
interpretation. How do you know the interpretation is that way?
Because we have called imams, and they studied the whole life, the Quran. Basically, as you have doctors who study medicine your whole life and you trust them. So you go to them and they like evaluate those interpretations, basically. Does that make sense?
Which ones are you referencing? Because I've seen many Muslim
It is a common thing. Like
scientists
only
accept that this is a correct verse.
no, no, no. It's only about the Sunnah. 3% of the Quran is like basically the Imam's debate. Like on 97%, they like uncommon like decision, that like it's not debatable because they accept it all. together, only like 3%. And this passage is not like debatable for the imams, like in the whole
So you're saying that most
community.
people
But
accept that it's not literal in the scholars. Was that
yes,
the case
but
in
can I
early
prove
church
it?
fathers?
What?
Was that the case in early church fathers?
What do you mean by early church fathers? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, like did early church fathers say the same thing?
Who's early church fathers? I don't
Like
get
not
that.
fathers. I mean like sorry, my bad. I'm using terminology with other religions. What did the early like church scholars, right? Did they make the same claims that this was like not literal?
Church scholars? I don't get what you're saying. I'm
Am
sorry,
I am I like
but
not making sense right now? Am I like speaking gibberish?
bro, I'm not fluent in English, bro. I'm sorry about that.
No,
Like,
I'm sorry.
I
I'm
want
just
to,
like I apologize. I had no clue, but
but what I want to do is now prove it to you, like the scientific facts, basically. Can I prove it to you right now?
yeah, you can go for it.
Okay, so Professor Emeritus Keith A. You can look it up as well. It's a book. It's actually a book for non-Muslims created. Um, and in the basically this professor is one of the world's most prominent scientists in this field of anatomy and embryology, like for the fetus, like the babies, and when you get pregnant, you know. And this guy said during a conference, he stated that the statements that were made in the Quran about the embryology cannot be from a human. You can look it up. This website is islamguide.com. And you
It's
can like literally see,
islamguide.com, and what is it?
yeah.
What is it?
And it is a video as well of the professor like saying the statements must be from a god that made it in the Quran, and he used it in his book. And this book is
Oh, you're just talking about some random Muslim scholar?
not some random Muslim scholar. It's the professor Emir Keith L. Moore is his name.
And are
M
they are
O
they
O
are
R,
they
and he's one of the most prominent scientists in his fields of anatomy and embryology. And they studied the statements that were made in the Quran about embryology. You know what I'm saying? And he also created the book, the
what's his name?
Developing Human. Keith L. Moore, Moore. He's one of the most prominent scientists, and he's not the only one who worked on this project together. It was like basically a group of scientists all together, like the best in the world. And I can prove it to you all.
And
Like
he did what? Say the thing he did again.
they studied the statements that were made in the Quran about embryology, anatomy, and
Yeah,
he
and
also
they claim that they're accurate.
they claim that you're accurate. I even have like
Appreciate the
video
handout. Thank you so
proof.
much.
I even have like video proof of those professors saying that and admitting that it must be from God. And I don't mind to accept those statements that are made in the Quran. And I don't think there's another like
There's one
explanation that it
professor.
must be.
There's
Not
one
one
professor that
professor,
makes this
not
claim.
one nope, nope. It's
How
a whole
many?
group. Let me go through the website. I can send you through Discord. So there was like a whole group of the best professors. I mean, like the best in the world in their fields of anatomy and embryology. And that's not only the only
I've
thing that
read the embryology claims within the Quran. They are not like hyper specific embryology claims that are like hyper accurate. If you've read
but
it,
the
you know
best,
that they're not
yeah,
crazy like in
okay,
depth.
okay.
They're knowledge that was relative
But
to the time period.
those professors made the statements that must be from
No,
God,
Malik,
and
you've
those
read
are
it, right?
there.
You've read it. You know exactly
Yeah,
what
I've
I'm
read
talking
it.
about.
I've read it. Even
Don't fucking sit there and tell me you think that that's some type of knowledge that they had to have had from the future, or that's some sort of supernatural understanding of the world.
bro, not
It
I'm
was a
saying that.
basic
Not I'm
claim about human formation that doesn't even relate to the actual
bro.
foundation of how it
Yeah,
happens.
I get. But not I stated that the most best professors and
You
scientists
keep
in
saying the
their fields
best
of
professors.
embryology.
Can you give me
Yeah, I
wait?
can prove it to you.
Yeah, give it to me,
Look,
right? Do
even
most
even
wait,
this.
hold up. Let me ask you the question. Do most professionals in that field indicate this is true?
I make the statements and I have proof for you. The websites I can even send you all the things. They even videotaped it because
Malik,
people
answer my question.
still.
Do most professionals indicate that this is true?
Yes, the best
That's
in the
false.
world.
That is completely false. Give me a source for that
That's
right now.
I give it to you. I said Islamic papers.com
No,
slash
I'm saying
2012.
consensus amongst professionals, not people who are
Yes,
Muslims, right? People
they
across
are
the
not
board.
Muslims, bro. They're not Muslims. Dr. Marshall E. Johnson said that. Dr. TVN Percent said that. Dr. Robert Edwards from Cambridge said that. It was like a whole
They
committee.
would not make a claim that this had to have come from God if they are literally saying that they're not religious.
Bro, I swear to God, I even have proof.
That makes literally zero sense. Can you please just like restate that in your head for a second?
Bro, it is the statements that are made, and they even videotaped this, and they didn't say they're atheists. They said they're agnostic. And as I said, the Prof Keith
Then they
Lee
wouldn't
and the
be able to
master,
say that this convinced them. That doesn't make any sense.
bro, oh my God, he stated that it must be from God, and I have no problem. Should I play the video? I cannot put my camera on. I don't even know why, but I can send you all the links, and they even have videotaped this because people still won't believe it, so they videotaped it to prove it.
I have a friend that has apparently like read through this and wants to address some stuff. Are you okay with that?
Yes,
Yeah,
100%.
for sure.
And
Because
I just want
I
to say,
haven't
you
looked
said
through.
those statements are weird because he put the exact statements in his book, Developing Human, which has been translated into 8 languages. And this book is a scientific reference work and was chosen by a special committee in the United States as the best book authored by one person. And that was from the Keith Moore. And he adapted the same statements from the Quran in his book. And
All you're
as I
telling me is
said,
that they just accepted it, right? Like again, you have read
not because,
the statements of embryology within the Quran. They are not
yes,
some crazy accurate statements or something that couldn't have been
they
understood at the
are.
time. They
And
really
I'm
are
saying
not.
they are. That's why they use in the Human
They're really
Development
not.
book, which has been translated into 8 language, and by a
That's
special
literally hold up. You understand
committee.
that you understand that. Okay, so tell me what
Bro,
particularly
look at the
within it
facts.
is no.
Yes,
Hold
I
up,
can
let me
tell you
finish my
what the.
question, bro. Can I finish
Yeah,
my
I can.
question?
Yes, of course, 100%.
Yeah, so can you tell me what specifically within the Quran, within the verse, right, indicates to me that there's some sort of knowledge that couldn't have been understood at the time in terms of embryology? Please,
Quran
I'd love to hear it.
2023, verse 12 to 14,
Okay.
and he
Quran Surah
adapted.
23, what?
Yes, and Quran Surah 23, verse 12 to 14, and he adapted those statements, the exact same statements he adapted in his book. The
Oh,
book is
fuck, I
named,
literally just, Surah 12 through 14.
hear me out, Chet, and the book is named
We
Developing
created
Human.
man out of clay. Then we made him drop
Yes,
a drop
yes.
of life germ. Then we placed it in a safe depository. Then we made
The,
this drop into a clot. Then we made this clot into a lump. Then we made the lump into bones, and we clothed the bones with flesh. And then we caused it to grow. Thank you for the glowing jellyfish. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Into another creation. That is not you read that and you really think that that's like some fucking crazy understanding of the world, some
I'm not
scientific proof
the
of
only
Quran.
one saying
Please,
that.
please get a fucking grip on reality. Honestly, acquaint yourself with reality. I'm being fucking for real, dude.
What?
I'm being so real,
This
dude. I'm
statements
sorry,
are
bro. Get a
used.
grip. Get a grip, dude. Like that actually that you read that and you're like, yeah, that's proof of God.
The second best percent, Dr. TNV
Appreciate it. Thank you. I
percent
appreciate it. No. Stop
said,
appealing. Stop appealing. Answer me, okay? Answer me. You think that that's proof
I
of
think
God?
yes, 100%.
That is clearly
And
not
those
proof of
and
God.
the best scientists in those fields saying the
You
same
keep
thing.
saying that. I don't give a fuck about your appeal. Those are not the best scientists. I don't give a fuck what you're saying, okay?
They
I'm
are
literally
based on
no, I
facts.
don't.
They
I
are.
don't.
You
I
cannot
honestly I
deny
don't
that.
even think that's relevant, right?
It was,
Again,
but it
you
was
think that
proven by
that
the
verse,
U.S.
this is what the
committee.
verse is based upon, right? You're saying that we created a man out of extract of clay, we made them into a life germ, we placed them into a safe depository, made this drop into clot, and then we turned the clot into a lump, made the lump into bones, right? And then
Yes,
clothed them with flesh. You think that that is an accurate representation of embryology?
yes, it is clear
No,
to
it's
me
not.
that
It literally is not at all.
and I'm not the only one saying that.
No, and that's bullshit.
Experts
That's bullshit.
who
I'm gonna
should
let Matt
we
address this,
believe
but
in?
like,
You
dude,
okay? So you don't
Malik,
believe
I'm
in
gonna be
science
totally
then?
fucking for real, dude. Totally fucking for real. That is utterly bullshit for you to make a claim that that is somehow proof of God or that is somehow proof of some scientific understanding that they couldn't have had at the time. That is ridiculous. Let's be fucking for real.
Okay, so you're saying the best professor in embryology is
Oh
ridiculously
my God,
God,
he keeps
right?
saying the same thing. Like, give me an actual
No, no,
reason.
no. That, I told you the reason. They used the same statements in this book which been studied like from medicine students, and the US community choose that book as well and give it like also like how you call it.
This literally proves nothing. This gives you nothing. Can you please just give me a reason? Malik, I'm actually asking you for like a legitimate reason, man.
Bro, I'm looking at the facts and what scientists say the best in the world. I'm
Dude,
not the
why
one
are
to
you?
judge.
Why do you keep saying
I'm
the
not
same
the
thing
one,
over and over again?
because I'm a normal human. I'm not an expert. You ask experts in
I
those
understand you don't
fields
have to be an
to know
expert.
their
This
information.
is literally nothing crazy. It is literally nothing crazy at all.
Actually, in this old like only like learn from way more statements that are made from scientifics, and they also converted because they studied the Quran.
Yeah, and you can show me those other types of claims, but this claim, this verse, does absolutely not show it. That is literally utter bullshit. That is utter bullshit for you to make that
That's
claim.
crazy.
And I will say here, I won't be completely fucking honest. I'm very nice with people in my life. This is utter bullshit. That's utter bullshit for you to make that claim. You know that doesn't
Okay,
associate with each
just
other. You're just
okay,
making that
just
claim because you feel like this is true. Like
and
that's the only reason.
I'm asking you now, are those scientific the best in their fields? Are those stupid as well?
Oh my
And
god.
do
Yeah,
those
they are.
claims?
If they made the claim that this is proof of God, yeah, they're
And
absolutely brain dead.
and
Yes.
if they use it in the most like
I'm
in the
so
book,
real. I'm so
which is
real.
I have to cut in here for a
medicine
second. Can I
students,
cut in here for a second?
Yeah.
yeah, cut in.
Sorry. Okay. So one, these are you have given us no proof that these are the best embryologists in the world. At most, these are what
Because
Muslim.
they said
Hold on, no, hold on. These are what Muslims say are the best because they agree with Muslims. You can ask any embryologist across the world, ask any of them, okay, who are not these particular embryologists. Will they
those are
agree
the
with you?
best in the world.
No,
They choose
hold
the
on.
best.
No, that is not true because you have given us no data to support that Keith Moore was the singular best embryologist in the world at the time. He was
I
just
just
chosen. Okay, Malik, can you tell me who
he made up a
commissioned,
team.
Malik, who commissioned Keith Moore to write and to say what he said? Can you tell me who paid him?
Yes,
Who paid him?
this no one paid him, bro.
Oh, you don't know who paid him? Okay, it was
No,
King Abdul Aziz.
It
No, yeah,
wasn't.
it was the
wasn't
Saudi.
medical
It was
conference.
the no. It was the Saudi family. He was literally hired by King Abdul Aziz University to write for their
They
committee.
invited. They
Yes, he
invited
was
him
invited.
to the
Why?
committee.
Because they paid him. They paid him to say it.
By the way,
And did you know afterwards, after he left Saudi Arabia, he would not speak to people about this? The Wall Street Journal asked him point blank about his comments about these verses, and he would not speak on them. Why? Because one, he's still a committed Christian, and two, he doesn't believe it. He was paid to say it. You can look at his direct quotes. The most he says is like, okay, yeah, this
show me proof
verse
that he
says it.
was paid.
Yes,
Show
he
me
was
proof that he
paid
was paid
off.
to say this. And he was not
Yes,
only
he
the
was
one
paid
who
off.
said it.
He was literally paid to write an addition to his popular textbook called Clinically Science Embryology with Islamic Additions. They paid him to literally add Islamic sources to his textbook.
Okay, so they paid also Dr. Marshall E. Johnson,
Yes,
who's one
that
of the
was the
most understanding.
committee. That was the committee. The Saudi family was trying to pump up their university, and because they are a school for the Islamic sciences, they hired embryologists to bump these up. So yes, these are.
So we go next.
What?
Why they use those statements in the Developing Human book, which this book been scientific? It's a reference
he
word.
doesn't to this
And
day. That book is only used in Saudi Arabia. Used in Saudi Arabia.
Oh my God, that's so not true.
Yes, it is.
Book,
it is not used in Canada. It is not used in the United States. He commissioned the book. No, it's not. What is the title of his book? The title of his book is The Developing Human Clinically Oriented Embryology, and then the Saudi family paid him to write an addition to it that had the verses from the Quran. Why? Because you cannot publish a textbook in the Muslim world that claims something about the Quran or leaves something out. Yes, he wrote the textbook.
Wait a second. This exact textbook
was chosen by a special committee in the United States
with the
as the
additions.
best
With the
book.
additions. That's you're not understanding. He wrote that textbook was on the market for literally decades. Then, when he was hired by this committee, they used his textbook and they then asked him to add Islamic additions. You
That
will
was
not
not true
find
because
that
they
textbook. You will not find that textbook in any secular university.
that was in 1984, I guess. That's what when the
It was introduced into the Muslim world in 1984, but the actual committee came a little bit later. But still, what I'm telling you is that his textbook was on the market for a very, very long time. A very long time.
and you tell me
what?
Where is the proof that he got paid? Why is he not in jail then?
Because it's not illegal to be paid and to lie about it. It's not. That's not illegal. Millions of people get paid every single day to lie. That is not illegal.
He still works in the Toronto, Canada University of Toronto, and he's like one of those like headquarters and chefs and all that stuff. Why is he not fired? It makes no sense.
Oh no, he's not fired because he doesn't teach that at that university. That's why if he started teaching that the Quran, that these verses in Surah 23 actually promoted science, he would be fired by his department. But he's not being fired because he doesn't believe it.
Dr. Edwards from Cambridge was also like paid?
Yes, they were paid. Scientists can be paid. No, but you have given us no data to support the fact that these are the best in the world. You just keep making that point with no data.
Literally saying in the article, those statements literally you saying in the article that it's
the article that you gave us is from a Muslim website. Of course they're going to say that they're the best in the world.
Bro,
because that suits their interests.
Yeah, this site that agrees with my religious beliefs says that my claim is the best. Definitely not bias.
And by the way, Keith Moore can't be fired.
You can look
Keith Moore can't be fired also because he's dead. So he retired soon after in the 1990s, and so he was. So by that point, he couldn't be fired. Plus, he had tenure, so he couldn't be fired anyway. So he was free to do these types of activities. And the things that he has said about the Quran are the most vague stuff you will ever hear. He said, for example, that when the Quran describes it as a small piece of meat, right, the mukda, right, and he said, well, by golly, you know what? It does kind of look like a small piece of meat. That's not science. That's not science at all. That's not breaking down the molecular, the comparative anatomy, the presentation. You will not find, Malik, in any embryology textbook, an embryo being described as a piece of meat.
Okay.
You won't find it, Malik. Why? And why did he say that? Again, because he was paid to do it. And when you're paid literally tens of thousands of dollars, you'll say whatever you want them to say. And all he had to say was that the Quran has science in it. And that's exactly what he said. And Parker is correct. You read that verse. That verse,
but he's not the only one, though. Okay, so you got it. But you, okay, so you can prove that he got paid. Okay, prove to me then as well. The other embryologists got paid as well.
Okay, you want me to go into their financial records? Because as professors, they are under United States law plus the university law. They have to publish.
That's not how the law system works. If you cannot prove
yes, it is. I'm a librarian at a major university. I know exactly how these financial systems work. You know why? Because I help these people publish.
You cannot claim that that's not true then. If you can prove it, you cannot claim it that's
because
true,
their financial statements are public. They have to be public.
Those are your assumptions,
no, that's not my assumption because I look at them every single freaking day. I know what they look like because when you publish something, when you make an agreement to publish something, you have to publish what's known as a conflict of interest statement. If you have one, you have to say who you got your funding from. And guess what? Keith Moore would list it as King Abdulaziz University. That's his conflict of interest.
I go with you on that point. If Keith Moore got paid, what about the other ones then? Who made the same statements?
If they were part of a committee, they would have gotten paid for that work. They're not doing it for free.
How do you know?
How do I know? Because I know professors. because I work with them every single day. I know what they're like. They do not do any work for another university with which they are not affiliated for free. They will not do it. One also because most universities have a clause in their tenure statements that says that they cannot be the benefactor of another university's statements, especially one that is outside the country and one that is non-secular.
But he's saying that it's normal. It's an informal chat over a cup of tea. But it has been like that. The fact that most girls. Okay, never mind. Forget about it.
Yes, literally. He was paid to sit on a committee with other people who are also embryologists to reinterpret certain verses and to say what the king of Saudi, because the king of Saud, right, is the head of this university, right? And so he wanted them to pay what they wanted to say because they wanted to promote.
It is the embryology committee, bro. It's literally a committee, and they were invited to Saudi, bro. And you're saying the whole committee got paid? How does that work,
yes,
bro?
because you know why? How I know that? Because it was only these 4 or 5 guys. It wasn't the entire department. It wasn't the entire embryology department of Cambridge. It was certain individuals, right? Certain individuals, right? They could have literally polled or hired tens or dozens of embryologists from all over the world.
If you cannot prove it, they got paid. I can't believe it. You have to show me proof that they got paid.
If you want me to find the financial statements of these individuals, okay, fine. But even if I don't find it, right? No, but I'm saying that even if I don't find it, what they said has no bearing on whether or not the statement is accurate.
Also there are people that claim that climate change isn't human caused, right? But we have an overwhelming amount of evidence that indicates it is. Thank you for the handout, I appreciate it. Most scientists would indicate that that's the case in terms of climate scientists. So clearly speaking, just because 3% of them say this doesn't mean that I should accept that conclusion, right? Like, clearly speaking, we literally read it ourselves, right? Honor, I appreciate the whale diving. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Honor. Thank you so much. We read it ourselves. It is nothing crazy. The fact that this is your best argument is like legitimately, I'm gonna be fucking for real.
That was not my best, bro. That was not my best argument.
But see,
it was just
Malik too.
On the point when you said like you were about to say something.
No, Malik. Parker made a good point with it. He did know the word to use when he mentioned the church fathers. What he meant was the people who wrote the tafsirs. So the mufassirs, the people who wrote it. How did they interpret this verse? They did not interpret it as a scientific verse. They did not interpret it in the way that you are presenting now. The writers of the early tafsirs had a very different interpretation than these modern interpretations. It's almost as if, in light of new science, Muslim apologists update their interpretations because they don't want to be outside of the science. But you can go back before the 1970s and look at any tafsir, any commentary on these particular surahs, and you will see that none of them interpreted it in a modern scientific lens, or even a scientific lens as the time. And I can look at that verse and say everything that verse says, the people of the time would have known, because people back then had miscarriages all the time. People back then, babies died a lot. And so at different stages of the development of the baby, if it would have came out, they would have seen what it looked like. And that's exactly what they're describing. They were describing what it looks like.
No, they didn't describe what it looks like, bro. It was
yes,
the stages.
Yes, he says
it was the
literally
stages and the feathers, or how you call
no,
it. Like
mugda literally can be translated as chewed, right? As chewed. Why? Because they thought it looked like a piece of chewed meat. They were describing what it looks like. The same thing before with the nufta, right? When they talk about they talked about congealed blood. It looked like it was congealed blood. Did you know that the embryo does not produce blood prior to 8 weeks?
Say it again. What?
That verse describes the early stage as looking like congealed blood. Right? The problem with that is that the embryo does not start pumping its own blood until week 8 or 9. And so why do they say that it looks like congealed blood? Because when it comes out, it looks like congealed blood because it has the placenta of the mother's blood next to it. And so it looks like a big snot mass of blood. That's what it looks like. Have you looked up what a 6-week embryo looks like?
6 weeks, bro. How do you even do that? It was in the 7th century, bro.
Bro, they had miscarriages.
Not like 20 years ago.
Malik, do you know what a miscarriage
when
is?
These statements were made.
Malik, do you know what a miscarriage is?
Miscarriage?
Yes. You know what a miscarriage is?
Let me look it up. Now explain it to me.
It's when a fetus is expelled from the uterus, usually due because the fetus is not viable. So a mother's body expels it. Okay, this can happen very early on, right? And when it happens very early on, it can look like a congealed snot thing of blood because that's what it looks like. Women back then, if they had poor nutrition, if they had high levels of stress, all the things, those make miscarriages much more likely. And when you have a miscarriage, the baby is definitely not fully formed at all, the fetus is, and you can have a miscarriage at very early or very late. So that's how they knew what these things looked like.
And what about the chewing gum? It was 25 days old. Like when they look like a chewed gum.
They can have miscarriages very early on.
What? Bro,
miscarriages can happen as soon as it implants. As soon as it implants, it only takes a few days or weeks later for the body to miscarry. Ask any woman who has miscarried how soon after they found out they were pregnant.
Ask that. I will go to embryologists and ask them, bro.
Ask them. Yes, ask them.
I will ask them if that's possible, bro. I will ask them. Okay, yes. And what about the never mind. Forget about it. So, but there are more statements. Can we get them to the other statements that were made?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, thanks. Matt, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much, bro.
I appreciate that. Yeah, thanks. Bye.
All right, go for it.
That's gynecolia. It's human genetic, Betel, medicine, Houston, Texas, USA. So Dr. Joe Lay Simpson, I guess his name is. You can look it up. Dr. Joe Lay Simpson, in the chairman of the Department of Obstetrics and Genealogy, professor of obstetrical and genealogy, and professor of molecular and human genetics at the Babylon College of Medicine, Houston, Texas, USA. Formerly, he was a professor of a blah, 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 whole lot of things about him. And he studied those two sayings of the Prophet Muhammad. And those two sayings are, in every one of you, all contents of your certains are collected together in your mother womb by 40 days. In 42 nights have been passed over the embryo. God sent an angel to it who shapes it and creates it, and hearing, vision, skin, flesh, and bone.
This is the professor saying this?
Yes, this is no.
The professor just believes in God. I don't care what the hell is being said if it's just a faith claim.
The statements that were made in Quran, so just so you know.
Okay.
And he studied those two sayings of the Prophet Muhammad. And basically what he said, he was particularly impressed by those absolute precise and accuracy of those sayings of the Prophet Muhammad. Then during one conference, he gave the following opinion. So that those two hadiths, the saying of the Prophet Muhammad, as hadiths are the saying of the Prophet Muhammad, that have been noted, provided to us with a specific timetable for the main embryologically development before 40 days. Again, the point has been made, I think, repeatedly by other speakers this morning. These hadiths could not have been obtained on the basis of the scientific knowledge that was available at that time or either writing. It follows, I think, that not only there is no conflict between genetics and religion, but in fact, religion can guide science by adding revelation to some of the traditional scientific approaches, that there exist statements in the Quran shown centuries later to be valid, which support knowledge in the Quran having been diverted from God. And that's also on video.
That's just an opinion, right? Like I want like an actual argument,
expert,
bro.
From an opinion from an expert. All right, argument. Bro, you said
like someone who is making a claim
about
religion.
You said before, bro.
right? They're
Or like,
making a claim about religion.
is Hitler a good person and
I
stuff like that?
don't
So
think them being an expert in that doesn't mean anything. Like my dad is a doctor. Thank you for the confetti. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. He's an expert in that. That doesn't mean his claims about religion are accurate.
okay, do you go to the doctor, Parker?
Yes, I do go to the
Does he
doctor.
have
My
like
dad's
fucking
gonna know what to
injury?
do whenever
So
I'm
you
like in a
trust? So
circumstance in
you
which I'm in
trust?
I'm in a lack of health, right? But that doesn't mean that he's gonna be like accurate when it relates to religion.
But those are the opinions on the statements that were made from an expert, as well as you trust an expert when you have an injury.
These are
And it's not
completely
some
different things.
expert.
I wouldn't trust a doctor with knowledge about my car. I would trust a
Bro, that
mechanic.
is, yeah, but it's saying about, bro, it is about optical and genealogy, and he's saying those statements that were made cannot be from a human back in the days and with the knowledge.
Yeah, I'm not convinced of that at
I'm
all,
saying his
right?
name
That
again.
seems to be
Saying again.
that
He
seems to
must
be
be
like
paid,
some sort
right?
of question that you would ask like a historian or something like that.
Historian.
Yeah, that's like you're talking about history there. You're not
What?
talking about science, right?
Okay. I don't know what I'm talking about then, I guess.
What do you mean?
If bro, it's like specific his field, bro. Genealogy. That's his field, and that's what the statements are like based on, genealogy.
Okay, so wait, what statement do you think that this is classifying to be accurate
What?
in the
The
Quran?
statement, yeah,
What
it's
claim
like
in
the
the Quran is true because of this embryologist? Are
in
they
very
even an
one of you,
embryologist?
all contents of your creation are collected together in your mother womb by 40 days. If
Your
40
occupants
days,
for creation?
not
What do you mean?
components, I'm sorry.
Oh, like, oh, you're just talking about like how there's like conception?
No, in every one of you, like all components of your creation are collected together in your mother womb by 40 days. And then he's saying,
It's
if 40
actually, it
days,
would be
if
before
for,
that. It would be before that.
no,
Yeah, what are you talking about? Conception happens not at 40 days.
conception? What? Bro, and then
Conception is
he's
the
saying
beginning of life.
specific. Yeah. Oh, okay.
That's where all of the DNA exists for the zygote.
I don't think that's false. No. 40, bro, it's
Did he
42
just
days.
say that
Wait.
that's false, bro? There's no
Yeah,
fucking way,
bro.
dude. You think that you don't think that life begins at conception?
It begins with conception, bro, of course. But
Okay, so
after
then what
40
are you
days,
saying?
you're saying it's earlier, bro.
I never said it was earlier than conception. When did I say
You
that?
said you think.
When did I say I think it's earlier than conception? I never said that. I said it was conception.
Then I overheard you, I guess.
Huh?
And okay, let's talk about something different then.
No, but
So
no, like okay, all right.
nah, there's more statements, but I don't think like this would convince you, I guess. But you said earlier something about like Hitler. If 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 God thinks that Hitler killed these persons, is that good or something like that? What do you say again?
I was talking to a Christian, completely different perspective there.
Okay, that's true because the Christian God is mostly loving.
They say Christian God loves everyone. So I
Yeah.
asked if they love Schmittler.
Okay, that's valid. That's valid. But you were
Yeah.
talking to Omar about perfection
Yeah, we can talk about
human
perfection. We can talk about the
creation.
problem of evil. Do you want to do that?
Yes, I think
Yeah.
the world is perfect in the creation of nature. And then you ask Omar, you also ask him the Hitler question as well. But before that, you ask him, I forgot what you asked him. Shoot. You asked him a question before the Hitler question. What was it? Do you remember? But after that, you ask him as well the Hitler question. You remember?
I don't remember. This is a while ago. Now this is hours ago at this point.
Okay, so you don't think the creation of God is perfect?
No, well, no, not under my view. Of course, not under my view, but under God's view, it's not perfect either.
It is perfect under God's view.
So do you think that God thinks that sin is perfect?
No, of course not. That's why he developed like the Quran to say like how to live your life, and you know that you're gonna sin, and he basically told you what to do if you're gonna sin. To ask for forgiveness.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that we're perfect. Do you believe that I'm
The
perfect?
human, yes, the human body, like the body, your whole cells, the body system, the ecosystem, 100% perfect.
Am I
Like the
perfect?
nature, yes.
As
The
in
nature,
like all things considered.
not all, not about your characteristics and
No,
all
I'm
that, but
not.
your
All things
body,
considered, I'm not perfect. Okay, so
yeah,
creation is not perfect. All things considered. Okay, if creation's not
bro.
perfect, all things considered, that would tell us that we don't have a perfect creator, as a perfect creator would entail a perfect creation.
It is about your like, what do you do? Like your actions. Of course, you're gonna like do some, you're gonna sin, but I'm talking about your body and the nature around you. The whole ecosystem, the universe is perfect. The sun is perfect. Like how's it placed in the universe and all the like ozone.
No,
Bro, I don't know.
did you hear what I said? What was my argument?
Yeah, your arguments is said like your actions are not perfect. That's why like the whole creation is also not perfect.
I'm
That's
saying all
basically your,
things considered, is it perfect?
well, of course not your characteristics and
No, so
action
all
because you're
things
gonna
considered,
sin.
it's not perfect. But what we
Like,
would expect is that all things considered, that there is perfect creation given a perfect creator, right? Because again,
but
it's perfect, all things considered.
that's not the sense of God. Like send us humans to the world, bro, because He's gonna test you. Of course he's gonna like make you like to a robotic bro who's doing like always the
That's
right
not
thing.
robotic. That's just perfect in the same way that is God perfect?
Yes, 100%. He's
Does
almighty.
God have free will?
Yes,
Yeah, so
100%.
you can have free will and be perfect.
No,
What?
no.
No,
If you have free
you just
will, then you're
contradicted
gonna,
yourself. You literally
bro.
just contradicted yourself. Hold up. You literally just said, dude, you just said you can have free will with God and he can be perfect. And you said that that's possible. But then I asked if you can have free will and be perfect. You said no.
I can have free will and be perfect because and not be perfect because I can decide if I'm gonna kill somebody tomorrow or not. If I have free will,
Yeah, but
that's like
if you were perfect, you
that's
wouldn't decide to do that
that's the
ever.
conclusion of not of having a free will because you never know what's gonna happen. Like
No, you would still
basically,
have free will. You would just be perfect so that you would never do that.
then you not have, bro. That's a logical contradiction
No, it's not. What's the contradiction?
because you're saying if I have free will, I can be perfect. But what if I'm having a
What's the
free will?
contradiction? Tell me, what is it?
Because I can do whatever I want. If I want to kill somebody because I want
Yeah,
out of
you
free
can do
will.
that if you want, but you're never going to because you're perfect. The same way I can do bad things right now, but I'd choose not to do them and I would never do them, right? Because of my character.
No, then you're forced. But what if
No,
I want to choose that?
I'm not
But
forced.
what if
You
I want to
can
choose
choose
that?
it, but you're
What
not going to.
I'm asking you, what if I want to choose that? If I want to kill
You
somebody, then I'm
can,
not
but you're
perfect,
not going
right?
to because you're a good person, right?
Why? No, that's the claim
What do
that
you
you
mean
made.
no? You're not, dude.
That,
You're not going to kill
I'm
people,
saying
right?
if you have a free will, you cannot be perfect. That's my claim. Your claim is if you have a free will, then you can be perfect as well if you have a free will. That's your claim, and I'm saying like the exact opposite. And I'll tell you why because I can choose what I want.
Yeah, you can choose what you want, but you're
Chat, please.
like, and
Who's
God
right,
can
bro?
choose what he wants, right?
What? Ask the
God
chat
chooses
then,
what he
bro.
wants,
Because
right?
bro, for me that's a logical contradiction, bro. Ask the chat then. I
What?
don't get it.
Can God choose what he wants?
Yes, 100%. Of course. Then he would
Okay,
not
okay.
like
Is
create the
God
universe.
perfect?
He has like a willness, like a
Thank you for the hearts. I
like.
appreciate it. Thank you, Trav. So you
So
can be
just
perfect
so
and
you get
choose
it,
what you
my
want.
God,
You just literally
my God has certain attributes, basically. So he must be uncreated, omnipotent, and he have a will. Moreover, he must like live outside space and time, basically.
Yeah, that's absolutely incoherent, right? If God is outside of time, then there's no notion of God being able to cause things, because a causation would imply a change in which there isn't a creation, and then a point in which there is a creation, right? That's a change. Change in states.
You don't know physics, then. If you're saying God must be in space and time, bro.
No, not space. I'm saying that God would have to be within a notion of time or temporal. Thank you, Lex. I appreciate the handout. Thank you so much.
If he created the origin of the whole world, he must be out of space and time. That's like basic physics, bro.
No. What do you mean that's basic physics, bro? What is this guy saying? I'm agnostic atheist, yes.
You must be agnostic if you believe in science.
I am agnostic atheist, yeah.
What does agnostic atheist mean? So you
means I don't know and I don't believe.
Ah, okay. How do you think then the origin of the world? Like,
I don't think there's a sufficient explanation, but I can provide one that's more likely to be true than yours. Thank you. I appreciate the galaxy. Thank you so much, Trav. Trav in the comments.
You can provide a concept that is more like better than a god?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
For the creation of the world? For the
even if I were to assume its possibility, even though I believe that there's a contradiction. I believe that there's a contradiction in your worldview, but even if I were to assume its possibility, I can still make a probability-based argument that would be able to not accept this particular claim.
Give me a better concept for the origin of the world than God. I want to hear that concept.
Yeah, so I can have the same base operating assumptions as the theist does in terms of that this initial state, like prior state, like to the universe, is going to have the necessary properties to bring about this reality rather than another one, right? Because God has to have the particular desires to bring about this reality rather than a reality with Nickelodeon slime or Ben 10 or Pokemon or marbles, just anything, just random number generation.
But how did this world came into existence? Because from nothing cannot come nothing.
I'm still explaining.
That's a physical rule, by the way. From nothing cannot comes nothing. That's like...
I'm not arguing nothing. Would you let me explain?